It's a toxic thing that people are doing. It's this looking for people that are bad and looking for things that are wrong, looking for wrong speak. It's very toxic. It's toxic for the people that are doing it. It's toxic for the people that are receiving it. It's not a way that human beings would ever communicate in one-on-one. I mean, I try to communicate with people the same way online as I would if they were right in front of me. I don't always succeed. The crowd is never satisfied.
Oh, no.
They will keep pushing left to the end of time until we're in a communist hole. They're not going to stop. The whole idea is that they're about kindness and consideration. That's horse. They're about control, and they're using kindness and consideration and inclusiveness, all these things, as talking points to allow them to exercise control. This is an ideology. It's a cult. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a weird
Joe
one.
Rogan is taking a stand against woke culture, and it's causing waves. Whether you're a fan or just following along, his views on free speech, comedy, and Hollywood are hard to miss. Rogan's criticisms go beyond a simple rant. He's calling out the entire system for diluting creativity and restricting what can be said. Rogan believes Hollywood has lost its edge, particularly in comedy. He misses the days when movies like There's Something About Mary and Dumb and Dumber were hilarious without worrying about offending anyone. In his view, today's entertainment is sanitized to fit a woke agenda, making it less daring and less funny.
There's two types of like older liberals. There's like the type that like is like an old hippie and is like, oh man, that was cool, you did that. And then there's types that look at you like,
Well, he wasn't a liberal.
no.
He used to be a Republican.
Yeah.
And then he got on MSNBC.
Yeah, you gotta go with the money, I
Changed
guess.
his panties.
Yeah, but it was that was a weird segment.
There's something about Mary, Kingpin. They're the classic comedies that made you laugh out loud without worrying about offending someone.
Is that a hair gel?
Yeah.
Great. I could use
No, you don't have to. You don't.
I just
Rogan
ran
is
out.
also frustrated by the woke transformation of beloved franchises like The Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. He argues that injecting social commentary into these stories weakens their original appeal. Fans, he says, don't want lectures on modern issues. They want the epic storytelling that made these series great. The impact on schools. Rogan's criticisms extend beyond Hollywood to schools, where he says woke ideology has taken over.
This girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. Yeah, I mean, like if you could teach your cat, by the way, here's the thing. If you could teach your cat to use the toilet, you would.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like you don't want a box of piss in your house. It's the worst. I've had cats my whole life. It's the worst thing about having cats. You got to clean that box of piss every day.
Yeah.
That's generally something that's a huge red flag.
It's a huge red flag. And you have activists who are teachers. That's a fact.
Ideology has taken over. He shares stories about students identifying as animals and schools keeping important information from parents, which he finds absurd. Despite the chaos, Rogan sees hope in kids who reject these ideas and push back. At the heart of Rogan's message is a defense of free speech. He believes that comedy, art, and even societal progress depend on the ability to speak freely. Rogan worries that if woke culture continues to dominate, we'll lose the raw honesty that makes art powerful. He cites legends like Richard Pryor and George Carlin, who weren't afraid to say what needed to be said, no matter the backlash.
The cultural agreement we have about like how we view, or this is what the push is, or what this idea of the compliance, forced compliance into this ideology. You have to accept what we view now as sex and gender. Piss people off. I mean, you're gonna always have people, but you're gonna have more people upset with you, and there's more righteous indignation, I think, than I've ever seen in comedy. I've had more people furious at me for what are clearly jokes.
Whether you agree with Rogan or not, one thing's clear. He's not going anywhere. He's become a key voice in the debate over free speech, comedy, and culture. Rogan isn't afraid to confront woke culture head-on, and that's why he's so influential. As long as he's talking, the conversation about free speech and creativity is far from over. So, what do you think about Joe Rogan's stance on woke culture? Are we losing something in our push for political correctness? Or is it just a step toward a more inclusive society? Woke culture and cancel culture have ignited passionate discussions across various spheres of society, and it's clear that these phenomena are reshaping our social fabric. At the heart of the debate lies the evolution of language and discourse, which is increasingly sensitive to the experiences of marginalized groups. While advocating for mindful language can foster inclusivity, there's a fine line between promoting awareness and stifling expression. Many argue that the fear of offending someone can lead to a chilling effect where individuals hesitate to voice their opinions or share their humor, ultimately hindering open dialogue.
It's a standard maneuver when someone wants to silence someone, when someone wants to put someone in a category that's instantly recognizable. One of the best ones is racist. It's like really uncomfortable person.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like too many people paid attention to him for too long, and it freaked him out. Like, I don't know him, but when I see, stories about him or interviews with him or, any weird controversy that happens with him, I'm almost like, I think the guy just got overwhelmed. I haven't watched the Lord of the Rings thing on Amazon, but I heard it's a fucking disaster.
Oh, is it? It's the most expensive TV show ever made.
Fucking disaster.
As we reflect on this, we must ask ourselves, is it possible to create an environment that respects individual experiences while also allowing for robust discussions? This question resonates deeply, especially in a climate where people are often quick to take offense. The rising prevalence of outrage culture illustrates this dynamic well. Social media platforms amplify these reactions, allowing individuals to mobilize against perceived offenses almost instantaneously.
That category is conservative, like ruthless, nasty, mean, a person who's not kind, you're not a person who's caring about other people. You're a conservative. You're a mean bully, mean, mad white man.
While this can serve as a mechanism for accountability, it also risks devolving into a mob mentality where nuanced conversations are drowned out by polarized shouting matches. In a society that thrives on outrage, we must consider whether we are sacrificing critical thought for the sake of immediate emotional responses.
And I see this noble bee, and I'm like, noble bee, you stung even though you knew you were going to die. Why did you do it?
When was the last time we engaged in meaningful conversations with someone holding a different viewpoint? This introspection is vital because it sheds light on how deeply ingrained our biases can be, whether we're aware of them or not. Another critical aspect of the current cultural landscape is the pressure to conform. Many individuals feel compelled to adhere to the prevailing norms of woke culture, fearing repercussions if they stray from the accepted narrative. This societal pressure often leads to self-censorship, where individuals suppress their authentic selves to avoid conflict or backlash.
People getting canceled.
Yeah, it's a strange time in that regard, where it seems like no one knows exactly what our cultural framework is anymore for discussing things, and every time it gets pushed further and further along, you have to kind of catch up with what you're allowed to say and what you're allowed to talk about and what's okay. Like, it didn't used to be controversial to say there are two genders.
The result is a stifling environment that discourages creativity and open discourse. This brings us to the role of comedy, a genre traditionally known for its capacity to challenge societal norms and provoke thought. Comedians like Richard Pryor and George Carlin thrived on pushing boundaries and addressing controversial topics. However, many comedians today express frustration at the constraints of political correctness, feeling boxed in by the fear of offending someone. This raises a pivotal question. Is comedy still an effective tool for challenging societal norms? Or has it become yet another casualty of woke culture? The ability to laugh at ourselves is an essential facet of humanity. When comedy is restricted by fears of causing offense, we lose a powerful means of addressing uncomfortable truths. Moreover, comedy often serves as a catalyst for change, helping society confront its issues through humor and satire. If comedians feel they can't explore certain subjects for fear of reprisal, we may risk losing the raw honesty that makes comedy impactful. As we navigate this complex landscape, we must also reconsider our approach to accountability. In a world increasingly focused on holding individuals accountable for their actions, cancel culture can sometimes veer into punitive territory. While accountability is essential, it is crucial that we create a culture that promotes learning and growth rather than one that alienates individuals. The balance between punishment and understanding is delicate. And as we move forward, we must strive to develop frameworks that allow for constructive dialogue.
Consequence of socialization, or are they biological? And the answer to that is tricky, because how much something is social and how much it is biological actually depends on the social circumstances.
Generational divides surrounding woke culture cannot be overlooked. Younger generations often embrace these ideas as a means of challenging outdated norms and advocating for social justice. However, this can create tensions with older generations who may view these shifts as overreaches or censorship. This disconnect can breed resentment and misunderstanding, complicating our collective efforts toward progress. To bridge this generational divide, it is essential to foster constructive conversations about values and beliefs. Engaging in respectful dialogue can help us understand different perspectives and work toward common ground. The challenge lies in overcoming the instinct to dismiss or attack opposing views. Instead, we should aim to listen and learn, even when it feels uncomfortable. At the end of the day, the rise of woke culture and cancel culture presents us with an opportunity to reevaluate our communication styles, values, and willingness to engage in difficult conversations. As voices like Joe Rogan's highlight, pushing boundaries and questioning the status quo is vital. Yet, as we advocate for free expression, we must also remember the importance of empathy and understanding in our interactions. This ongoing discussion around woke culture and cancel culture is not merely an academic exercise. It is a reflection of who we are as a society. We are at a crossroads, and the choices we make now will shape our collective future. The way we engage with these issues will define not only our cultural landscape, but also our ability to coexist in a diverse society. Your thoughts matter in this evolving narrative. What do you think about the impact of woke culture on our society? Are we moving toward greater understanding, or are we risking more division? The comments section is open for your opinions and insights. Engaging with each other can lead to a richer understanding of these complex issues, allowing us to challenge ourselves and grow as individuals and as a community. As we navigate these conversations, let us remain open to dialogue. Let's share our experiences and perspectives without fear of judgment. Whether we agree or disagree, the beauty of our discourse lies in its diversity. So let's embrace this moment and engage thoughtfully with the questions that define our time. The fight for free speech and against the constraints of woke culture is far from over, and every voice plays a role in shaping the outcome. Let's keep the conversation going.
With it, just like people were super aggressive about the vaccine. You know, I hate seeing people die because they made a poor choice. But there's something insane about how many people were like pro-vaccine advocates that were shaming people and angry at people, and now they're dead. And they're not dead because they ran their time and they got old and they died, and you know, it's unfortunate, but it happens to all. No, they're dead young.
It was announced by the organizing committee that the situation would be reversed, and they asked white student, staff, and faculty not to come to campus, and that did not at all sit well with me.
The college tried to pull this insane stunt where they told all white people not to come to campus for a day. And when Weinstein refused, the woke mob came after him, demanding he resign. We're talking about 50 students he'd never even met, calling him a racist, all because he didn't play along with their new rule.